everybody. This is AJ Capasso here, host of Talking with the Source. You are watching another episode with us. I'm here with my host, Jonathan Keyworth. What is up, my friend?
What's up, brother? How are you?
Good, man. Good. Watching one cloud over my house right now, rain as the rest of the sky is blue, is the story of my life. But it's
like
happening
Winnie
right
the
now.
Pooh, dude.
But it's following me. I swear, it's hilarious. It just happened outside, and I was just laughing to myself.
Oh,
But
there's Des. Hi, Des.
hey, Des, how are
It was
you?
her birthday yesterday.
Happy
so
birthday,
happy
Des.
birthday.
Happy birthday. I just want to say real quick before we begin, I want to give a shout out to my friend Michael, who runs 203 Detailing out of Connecticut, USA. If you have a car or a truck or anything and you need detailing or paint correction, give him a shout out. His number is 203-707-7077. And like I said, he does a great job. As you can see, he does detailing and paint correction. So definitely check out his website. His telephone number for more information. Just to let you know, too, we are live on Parapost Network. If you have a vodcast or you want to stream it, get more exposure, anything along those lines, hit me up at talkingwiththesource@gmail.com, and I'll help you get your vodcast on Parapost Network. It's a network of family of all different podcasts. So definitely you're going to want to check it out if you haven't. It's on Facebook. It's on Twitter. So check it out. But right now we have an amazing guest. We have a guest that we've had before. He's an amazing guy. He is one of the smartest people that I've ever talked to about tech. And I'm super happy to have him on to talk about paranormal equipment, man. And his name is Andy Guy. He's from Skyer Tech. Hold on one sec. Let me bring him on. Hey, Andy, how are you?
Hi, guys. Yeah, I'm fantastic. Thanks. Good to see you again.
There we go.
Oh,
he did it to me.
There, I switched. Dude, no one wants to see your mug.
I know. But anyway, how you been though, Andy? Good?
Yeah, very, very busy. Been doing lots of things this year and working out what we're doing next year. So yeah, it's been pretty full on. Trying to do the equipment stuff and spend enough time actually investigating and trying to fit some sort of reviewing in there at the same time.
Yeah, at the same time, being present at home. I know that feeling. Yes, I understand. I totally can imagine. It must take up a ton of the time that you have. So it's amazing that you could find the time to do all of it. To be honest.
Yeah, well, I've got a good group of people who I investigate with and review with, and we try and share the load a little bit. And I've got a very supportive partner who is very involved in helping making equipment now as well. So it's a team effort.
That is great, man. That is
great. So,
any
cool places that you went recently?
My favorite recently was a couple of months ago, and I'm going again twice in December. Is the Haunted Antiques Paranormal Research Center? Have you potentially heard of that at all?
It sounds familiar. I think I may have seen it on a clip or something through my Facebook. But if you want to describe it more, that'd be great, man.
Yeah. It's a location where Neil Packer set it up, and it's kind of like a collection of haunted objects that he's tried to kind of theme into what sorts of objects they are. And the best thing about it is that there's nothing off limits there. There's about five things, but you can pick up these things. You can pick up and wear these World War II helmets and put on outfits and carry dolls around and actually really kind of interact with the objects and experiment with them.
Oh, that's cool, man.
Wow.
The interactions we had there were unbelievable. I've never known such a night where it's always good when you don't even get to do the intro of like saying who you are and why you're there. It just goes straight into things happening and just solidly throughout the night. You don't get a chance to stop. Yeah. No one wants a tea break. You just keep going the entire time.
That is awesome. That is awesome. What kind of experiments did you guys run there?
So, the favorite experiment we did there was the one they called the Singapore experiment, where you try and pick specific audio to play back, which is related to like people there or events or periods it was built. But the problem is with Haunted Antiques Research Center, where it's full of so many different things. You it's hard to work out what to actually do, how to focus on it, and what to actually pick out. But we were lucky. There was one room which was a war-themed room where they had swords from several hundred years ago and different bits from the war and loads and loads of stuff. Which I'm amazed that they let ghost hunters wander around holding swords in the dark. But when we were sitting there, we were advised to try playing some German music. So I was playing some German military marches, and as we were just sitting on this table, just kind of talking about the marches, talking about the environment, etc., started hearing this tapping on this case behind us. So
Ooh.
got up and checked to find out what it might have been, and couldn't see anything that was causing it. But inside this case was this German military helmet they found on the beach of Normandy.
Wow.
And as soon as we sat down, someone felt someone walk right up behind them, and it was just constant things going beep, and hearing odd little noises all around us, just until we stopped playing that music, and then it quieted down again. It was like an instant trigger.
Isn't it wild how like certain things like that can bring out the energy in the environment, whether it be the stone tape theory that's causing it or whatever it may be? I mean, it's just absolutely amazing that these entities or energies are reacting to the energy of this music and to the vibration and frequency of whatever's going on in the room at that time. And I just find that so awesome that you guys are, basically getting so much that you're disoriented. You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah, it was hard to. I have this data logger that I wear when we're investigating.
yeah,
and I was just clicking it constantly. It's like, yep, that's happening, and trying to record what just actually happened.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I would
man.
like to think about it. Actually, I'm wondering if it might not only just be some sort of familiar sound or frequencies that attracts attention, but perhaps it's something about also kind of getting your own mindset to be kind of synced up with whoever else might be familiar with that music. So you end up kind of more on the same, I don't want to say wavelength, but at least in the same sort of mindset and that sort of receptive state where you can possibly have better connection with them.
Definitely.
Yeah, see, we were talking to Jay Hill. He was on our show recently, and he was talking about, and me and him were kind of conversing about grounding yourself, before you go into investigation, touching something that's connected to the earth, and, going into these investigations, if that, I mean, everything's energy, it's just focusing into that frequency and what's binding it, and I totally believe that objects can hold your energy if it meant a lot to you. I don't know. What do you think?
I always come back to that. If you had your wallet and you've been using it for years, and then you end up chuck it into a pile of other very similar wallets, do you think you'd be able to spot it or find it or pull it out?
I mean,
maybe. I've never tried it.
I mean, if I look through them, I would be able to probably, but it would probably take me like a long time, most likely. But the whole point is in the physical.
It's an interesting experiment, isn't it? Could you tell it's yours by the feel of the wallet?
Yeah. Oh no, if it was all the exact same, I probably wouldn't be able to.
That's not Nando. You need to buy 100 wallets now.
Hey Nando, how are you? No, yeah, that's weird. I never thought of it that way, but you're absolutely right.
Or taking your kid's goldfish and putting it in with a bunch of other goldfish. Find which one's yours.
Which is your goldfish?
Yeah. You're absolutely right about that. So what do you think for like not in our physical bodies? Do you think that it's possible maybe that energy can attract energy like that? Or do you think no, maybe there's a different way that you've maybe thought of or theory?
I don't know. I think there's a lot to the paranormal. I think there's a lots of random different events that we're perceiving in different ways, which have got nothing to do with each other, and we tend to want to group them together. I mean, you only have to look at quantum entanglement to think, whoa, there's something I just cannot explain. It definitely happens. You can do it in a lab. You can create it. It might be the future of how we communicate and maybe even teleport in the future.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
No, how does it work? Einstein doesn't know how it worked.
Yeah. No, exactly. No, you're absolutely right. You're 100% right. And that's the one thing with especially the whole quantum aspect, quantum mechanics, quantum stuff like that. It's so hard to put a lot of this stuff together, quantum entanglement, stuff like that, like even
Yeah.
Einstein didn't understand. So how could we understand really, And
I think it's very early doors, and we're seeing some of the symptoms of how these things kind of interact with our world. And then sometimes we go, okay, I've definitely seen that. I don't know what it is. And sometimes our brains go, I don't understand that. I'm going to fill in some of the gaps. And that weird kind of misty thing I just saw was definitely, a lady in white coming towards me. Just because then your brain feels more comfortable with seeing something it doesn't understand.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about Nikola Tesla? Because I know that AJ and I, we really admire his work, and I wish that we could see his stuff. I know it's publicated on a PDF on the what is it, the CIA or whatever files. I downloaded them, but a lot of the stuff is retracted, a lot of blackouts. But what do you think about Nikola Tesla's work?
Well, I like that quote where he says, to understand the secrets of the universe, you just need to look at energy and frequencies, because that does seem to be something that always keeps cropping up again and again when we're doing what we're doing. So he definitely was onto something. And I really wish the wireless power thing had come to fruition and it had the money to pursue that.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey,
Ed, I just want to shout out, he's listening to on the radio while he's cooking. So that's Ed Odell of the Rift Network. So thanks Ed, for tuning in.
Don't burn it.
And don't burn the food.
Todd Sylvia says, Andy, my boy, I was just about to hit you up to reorder.
Hey, Todd. So, good to see you. We'll catch you soon.
So I just wanted to say thank you again for coming on. Before I say one more thing, I wanted to bring up what you did for Robin at SkyTech for the little promotional thing. So I wanted you to explain it a little bit to the viewers so that I could put it up in the underneath us.
Yeah. So on the website skytech.co.uk, if you fancy getting anything from there because it seems interesting, then just use the code HAFFERN, HAFFERN at checkout, and you get 10% knocked off.
Wow, man, that's awesome! 10% off your stuff. That's good. Thank you very much for that, for promoting Robin.
Yeah, and honestly, thank you so much for everything that's Robin's going through. We really appreciate all our viewers. Please go out and check over skytech.co.uk and put in that HAFFERN code, get your 10% off. We're going to show some of his equipment right now, actually, because I wanted to ask you about the frequency thing you were talking about with the recorder before. If you could explain a little bit more into it, because I know you did last time. I don't want to reiterate something that I'm not smart into, so I'll let you do that.
I'll try my best. Just before we move on, though, because Todd said hi there. I actually try and make it a bit easier to get things across to the States. So if you if you want to pick up something from relatively paranormal as well, then at least it's survived the journey across the Atlantic. So that's kind of helpful.
Yep.
Well, Todd didn't mean to call you Annie. He said damn phone.
Oh, Danny, by accident.
He called you Annie.
Shocking. It's not. Well, it's still the weekend, so
Yeah, right. Yeah, it is the weekend. There you go. There you go. He goes, damn phone. That's funny. But please go ahead and talk about the
the G Freak. So I'm not sure about. I'm sure like everyone who investigates, you end up kind of getting some really good evidence and things you want to play to people and things you go, I just can't explain that. I've heard it time and time again. I've tried to work out what it is, can't debunk it. It's just unexplained, and you just end up with this kind of pile of footage of things you can show to people, but you're not really learning a lot from it. So I started focusing on different elements and breaking things down into different types of events and how people were witnessing. There was the focus, kind of what was the thing that happened. Did you see it? Did you hear it? So, and part of that, I was looking at EVPs and disembodied voices, so DVPs they're called now, and footsteps and anything kind of audio, because that's the same sort of thing really. It's either passing through the air as fluctuations of air pressure, or your brain is picking it up and it thinks it's audio. So I thought I'm going to focus on that, see if I can see any patterns. And on looking at the spectrum of frequencies on lots of different EVPs and footsteps as well, and occasionally knocks, I was seeing this significant collection of frequencies in the 400 to 550 range. I was keep seeing these little kind of spikes. There's a lot of them in that range.
Yep.
And I think there's some other theories which do say that there's some sort of resonant frequency about 400 hertz, which I only learned of later after going through this.
Yeah.
So for years, what I did to clean up EVPs, as soon as I got one or someone sent me something, I would just go into Audacity and do a 5-10 decibel boost just on those frequencies, and it would pick out extra bits. You'd hear things in there. I was
that's what I use. I use a crossover when I do my live sessions, and right at I don't know, between 800 to 1,000 is where I get my best responses. I'll play a clip for you later, but yeah, continue, man. That's perfect. Yeah.
And so that was very useful for a long time, and I got to the point where I was like, I wish I'd like. There's one place, it's Fort Woodley, where we were hearing these footsteps. Like nearly every time we went, you got up these battlements, and people were witnessing these footsteps, walking up to them. No one was there. And on the recording, after I cleaned it up, you could hear that they were on gravel, and then there's no gravel around. It was all kind of grassed over. So that would have told us a lot more about what actually occurred on that night that we were hearing the recording, as opposed to we were witnessing someone actually moving through the grass. And that would have probably changed the way we tried to then capture it. So I thought I need to be able to do this stuff in the field, maybe. So that's why I made this, which is just basically a unpowered bandpass filter, which when you put audio through it, it reduces the other frequencies and enhances the frequencies which are after the 400 to 550.
So do you use a mini plug to plug that into your mic part on your recorder?
It's a 3.5 mil either side, and
all right,
it's shaped like an arrow. So it's kind of you pass through in the direction of the arrow. There's someone recently said it looks like a Lego man with no head.
Yeah.
You see that?
Yeah.
I'm not sure I see that.
No
Lego man.
Yeah, I like it. I was just thinking the same thing. That's so funny you said that.
No, not going to unsee that.
No, I'm not going to unsee that now, but I love that. That's such a great thing. Now, I wanted to ask you about that. Now, you've done a ton of research. You said 12 years in the back. You've been studying this and you've been figuring out the range of those frequencies. Now, with frequency, and you're hearing that gravel, right, with the CVP, what do you believe you're actually hearing or going on in that frequency range? Like, are we hearing the dead, or are we hearing resident frequency of some kind of something? What do you believe that is going on in this? Like, how would you explain that?
It's an interesting question, because one of the big questions when it's about disembodied voices and things that you hear with your ears in real time is how did it get to my ears? How did it vibrate my eardrum? And as I've got recordings of these footsteps on several different occasions, then we heard it in the same way as the audio recorder heard it, that something vibrated the air between the point of origin and where it picked up on the recorder and picked up on your ears. So whatever it was that caused it had enough energy to create those air vibrations, and has had that energy every time that we've been there. And who knows if it's every time we're not there. So for me, that has seemed to be in a recording. So it's something which is happening potentially if people there or not. It's something we have to try and figure out by recording lots of times and not being there to work out if people being there is a component in providing the energy which it needs to move that air. But something certainly had to move the air and change the pressure in order to record it and for people to hear it. Now, where that came from, who can say? I wouldn't say that something like a recording would be something like a alternative dimension, or maybe even not even a time slip, because it's basically it keeps on happening, and something you need that energy.
It's like the repeating thing. Like there's a spirit here in Colorado off of Riverdale Road where you go to this one spot and you stand there and he'll run right by you, and you get cold and your goosebumps go up and you just feel uneasy, and it just starts over again. It just keeps going, and you can hear the feet in the gravel. But now it's a golf course and they got security there, so they don't allow anybody to go there anymore.
Yeah, shame. It'd be interesting to see if now it's kind of a golf course, if it does still sound like gravel.
I'm sure it does. I would guarantee it does, because this guy apparently was jogging in 1980s and got hit by a car and left for dead in the ditch.
Wow.
So that's the story.
Yeah, that's kind of what happened with our footsteps as well. After we caught it and then played back the gravel sound to the curator of the fort, and he said, well, actually, back when it was an active fort in the Victorian era, they had shale up on the battlements, not the grass verges now there. So we started looking at the newspaper reports around that sort of period, and we found several unrelated deaths. Someone got hit by lightning, and a couple of people fell off. One person was drunk and got his head clubbed in for some reason and was left up there. But because it's, and since that point, every time we go back, we try and use that information to try and get some communication, but it's nothing ever responds to it. It's just something which just happens. Sometimes with one person there, sometimes with a group of people there. Just where it comes from is the mystery, isn't it? But
yeah,
it's always
exactly.
getting later.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That is the huge mystery of it. Absolutely, 110%.
I mean, looking on all the research and stuff, like we know there's different realms, and they're saying that, like, in this fifth dimension, there is no time. You know, that there is no. I mean, if you think about it now, you know, time is just a measurement of interactions. Yeah. You know, and it's something that we made up as humans. You know, it's the same with money. You know, and you know, dogs don't care what time it is, or, you know, the sharks, wherever you are, they don't know what time is, and it's just amazing.
Dog with a watch, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's weird to sit here and think about, like, oh, yeah, like, there's no such thing as time. You know, like, it's a weird concept to think about because we're so used to it growing up in that environment where we'd known time our whole lives. We just the human construct of it. But, you know, to live in that not knowing would probably be so much more stress free, I think, in my opinion, than having to sit here and worry about time, because I feel like I don't have enough time in the day sometimes to get all the stuff I want to do. You know what I mean? And I feel like I'm on this structure, you know? So I would love to be without time for a minute. That'd be awesome.
Where a dog just goes, well, I had a really nice dinner.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Thanks very much.
Yeah, thanks very much. And then he's on to the next thought. Yep.
Yeah, I'm going for a snooze now.
Yeah.
What are you so stressed
out? Well, even speaking of dogs, one of the scientists was saying, you know, a dog is programmed to know the longevity of their life. So 1 year of us is 7 years to the dog, you know? So if you go to the mailbox and you come back, you've been gone to a month to them. You know?
That's why they're so pleased to see you.
Why they're so happy to see you, you know? Yeah. Yeah, they don't know what time it is.
That would be, you know, that would be kind of scary, actually. You know, if you think about it, you know, thinking about someone walking in the mailbox, coming back, and you feel like they're going gone for a month. That would be a freaky feeling. That would be a very freaky feeling. But you know, like I said, it's something maybe I'll experience when I die. Who knows? You know, but we'll figure it out, I guess. We all have to, right?
We'll all know eventually.
We're all going that way anyway. So, but the next thing I want to talk about was the next device that you brought out and back. If you could explain a little bit about it and what you guys would use it for during those investigations.
The what? Sorry.
The box one that you showed in back of the other device that you had.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah, I couldn't think of the name. I couldn't think of the name.
Yeah, so this is a custom one, which I don't think I'm going to put on general kind of release, because it's a bit of a pain to put together. Oh, okay. But basically, the concept is that it's like a
far off starting
beacon, and the beacon works in outputting both visible and audio frequencies in a very broad range, so between 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz audio signals, and then 700 nanometers up to UV, like 1200. So it goes throughout IR and visible, and then UV bandwidths. Wow. In the same speed as whatever the audio frequency that's coming out of it. And it's no idea if it's going to work at all. It was just a concept of being able to kind of create like an EM pump where EM, electromagnetic energy, can include visible light. So why not make something which then gives that energy in a form which might be useful?
That is amazing.
Yeah, but the idea being is who knows it's going to work. We're going to give it a bit of trying out, see if it's good. I'll put some patterns on here. So apart from just the frequency increasing, there's ones where it decreases and increases at the same time, like a cross one, and a polyphonic one. So there's a staggered
So like
start.
a wavelength, and then a sharp
Exactly,
turn.
lots of different things, and see what sticks. Try it
Yeah.
out there. See if it like an EM pump, it generates attraction. It pulls something towards it that it finds useful.
Now,
And
if you don't mind me asking this, because I've always wondered this. You said it was very hard to put that together. Now, what goes into something along those lines of getting those bandwidths between like those wavelengths of light
Or
and
regulating them, yeah.
visible? Yeah, and
well,
also
in this case, I cheated.
okay. I wouldn't know the difference. So,
So
hey.
so what I did was integrate audio files in here. So it's playing audio files which are then timed, and then that timing then syncs up with the light generation, so that it goes
So
at the
did
same
you
sort of
use
speed.
like a frequency generator on the files?
Oh yeah, well yes, exactly. To create the files, I did,
Okay.
and then played the files because it makes it easier to make it kind of portable and not use up lots of batteries and
Yeah.
less fussy.
No, that is absolutely awesome. I love that device, man. I can't wait till you guys, just
Sorry.
oh, that's awesome. I love the stuff you come up with and your team comes up with because it's so in depth and so scientific that you are getting data, and that's really what the whole point of this is. If you're a real paranormal investigator or researcher, that you want data and you want solid data for your experiments. So it's perfect that you guys come out with this great equipment, man. I always love talking to you about this stuff because you're so intelligent in it and you've done so much research into it. And I know you may not feel like you're this intelligent into it, but let me tell you, talking to a beginner that knows nothing about it, I tell you what, you awe me with it, man, truly. So I love learning from you. So I really truly appreciate all the knowledge that you share.
I mean,
Heck
that's
yeah,
what I
man.
like to do as well. Just you talk to people about things and listen to what their theories are, because you might not always agree with people, but this whole thing is such a big mystery, and there's so many different things to it that it's amazing. In odd places, you hear these little things, you think, oh, hang on, that clicks. I know you're talking, about crystals and how that you can pick up via this. And I thought, hang on, yeah, that makes sense. You use a radio has got a crystal. Every watch has got a crystal. Every mobile phone's got a crystal. There is something in crystals and resonance and energy. So why can't we have this conversation? Even if it seems like it's like I'm all about the data, but it's also all about kind of pulling other people's ideas and then kind of working on those and then sharing what we find. And that's where I found we've progressed the most, is just by trying to involve people as much as possible.
Dude,
And
I got a video on my phone of a guy that put electrodes on a mushroom and it was singing a song. All these different frequencies were coming through, and it's playing this song. And
wow.
I don't know the piece of equipment. I'll message you the video, and you can watch it. It's amazing, man.
Yeah, they have a device out now that you can hook these two things up now, and on any kind of plant, any type of thing, and it'll play frequencies of whatever the plant is producing or whatever.
Feeling or thinking or putting out. Yeah.
It's really
Makes sense,
wild.
doesn't it?
Yeah, it's absolutely wild, and it goes back to what we were talking about before about frequency and like how a lot of this stuff does keep reoccurring. Coming up. And so there has to be something to it. There has to be something to whatever we're studying, right?
Yeah, there is definitely something to it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. There's too many people who've seen and recorded things to say there's nothing to it. It's just, what is it?
Exactly. What is it? Now, tell me, what is one of your favorite technologies that you've created that you put your heart and soul into, that you were like, I am very proud of this? Well, it's all of them, but
probably the data logging, both the technology, but also kind of the protocols around it as well, which has enabled us to kind of just keep building on things. So when we investigate, this is kind of why I started building things in the first place. Was I wanted to be able to kind of record things methodically and consistently, and be able to then go to a fort or a manor house or a castle or anywhere, and it doesn't matter where you go and how long you're there, you're gathering data during that point, which you can compare against each other. So I started making these data loggers you could carry around, but then I made some we could wear, and ones that can go outside, and ones that each team can carry, and then they all sync up, which has been good and reliant on the protocols of making sure the times are right and starting at the same sort of time, and then uploading them to our website, and then using that to compare stuff.
I remember talking about this on the first podcast, and this
device
is absolutely incredible that you've made. And I'm so happy that you picked this device as your favorite, because this is definitely one of my favorites that you've created. And I have to say that as a researcher, like, this is something that I want to pick up from you, because like it's something that I would love to have my data stored somewhere where I can just put it onto a computer, you know what I mean? And like have the data.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, John, do you remember that this device? I don't know if you were with us, like I said in the first episode.
No, I wasn't. But I remember watching the episode. The device is crazy. Like,
yeah,
and I think that's imperative, you know, because when you're there investigating, you know, I hate reaching into my bag for all the different stuff. If I could get it all on one thing and it's recording as it's going, that's insane.
In my backpack. I'll show you if you like. I'll just I was going to grab it.
Yeah.
The next, well, interesting you say that, actually, because the next step for us is to improve the technology a little bit, get to network between the different the different data loggers, but also because at the moment we upload it manually to a website, but I'm going to get it so it is going to the website. So during the investigation, we can see some of these correlations or see what areas which things are happening, so we can move the investigation there.
Yeah, because if you have something happen at this point in time and you hear the same noise or the same thing, it happens at this point in time, then you can find that frequency range of you know, if I saw something or I heard something, and that will help us get that technology that, hey, here's some glasses, put these on and you'll go see some ghosts. It's operating at that frequency, you know.
That'd be ideal, wouldn't it? Yeah,
that would be awesome.
The one thing we're working towards once we do those is, and I've been speaking to quite a number of venues around the UK, is actually making that available to other people so that they can then investigate, upload it to a site, and then use that for their team to can then see these things. But also have access to locations which are running these like 24/7, to see if then you're seeing any correlation between, like, when you go there and you're investigating, are these things happening more often than when people are not there, for example? Like
if you left the equipment alone, would you get the same responses as if you were there, you know? Yeah, that's perfect.
I'll show you what I use. So it was originally a prototype. So it's a backpack rig.
Oh my gosh!
And on it, it's got the IR and a camera. So where I'm looking at and recording. And then on the back, I've got like a little screen so I can see what the data logger's doing.
Like that, yeah, because you'll be able to see what it's seeing. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah, and be able to then also record when I see things or sync up equipment. That's a very important.
How heavy is it?
Not very heavy.
Okay.
Big bloke, like, so
like a baby, like a little baby.
Yeah.
Bag of sugar, maybe.
Bag of sugar.
Okay, all right. That's good.
And the one I like as well, it's got a built-in 2 dynamic microphones on either side as well, connected to an audio recording backpack. So that when I'm walking around, and then we hear something, I log it, I can pick it out what direction exactly was in lieu with where my camera is as well.
That is awesome.
That was me. I let some gas go. You guys,
my partner's also got one, so between us we have this kind of sort of 4 directions quite often in each room, so we're able to then see exactly or hear exactly where the thing came from.
Oh, that is awesome, because that's one thing we're always looking for. You know, we hear a sound and we're like, where did that come from? You know, it sounds like one spot, but it's always somewhere else, you know. So have you had great success with that, like as a microphone, to have those 4 ranges?
Absolutely. I mean, 9 times out of 10, it just helped us debunk things. But in reality, I'm always a little disappointed when you debunk something amazing, but also kind of
Yeah.
glad that you haven't fooled
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. It stinks because you're like you want it to be something, but
Yeah,
like
you were like so excited. You're like,
yeah,
oh, I got something.
I
And
know.
then you're like, oh, it's this shadow off the wall. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, no.
Someone clearing their throat and they forgot they did it.
Yeah,
and
right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
half the
exactly.
time.
Yep. Or someone whispered and they didn't, remember. Yeah, yeah, I know.
Oh, yeah,
Those
Bane,
are the
isn't it?
new
People
guy.
whispering.
I hate that. Yeah, I tell nobody ever whisper. Don't never whisper to me.
So there's Faye.
Talk out
Hi,
loud.
Faye.
I kind of passive aggressively, like, when you kind of you flag things, like, you made a creak. When someone else is whispering, I'll say, so and so just whispered.
Yeah, no, that's I do that too. I'm
See if they pick up on it.
Yeah.
No, see, that's why I like investigating alone. I try to do everything by myself if I can. If people are up there, I'll go to the complete opposite place, where there's no noise, what do they call it? Distribution, I just
contamination.
can't handle that. Yeah.
That was one of the only good parts about the lockdown period is we were able to get some locations and just go like a couple of people. We eventually got the Ram in a couple of times. The ancient
everybody
Ram
was dying for money
That's
when
awesome.
everybody was trapped at home. So
yeah. So some locations were like, okay, if you're only coming in with 3-4 people, then that should be fine. And then you were able to get it for a song. It was quite good.
Oh, that's amazing. Now tell me, as your experiences at Ancient Ram Inn, have you guys had great success with your equipment there?
On those times when there was hardly anyone there, that was our best times. And I was just starting to introduce the Magnavox, which is a magnetometer that detects shifts in the magnetic field between the polarity or sudden spikes which weren't present during quite a long calibration period. And that was the first place that which we were trying it out as an independent unit rather than just on my backpack trying to spot the changes on the data logger. And we were
so
getting
does it distinguish between electric and magnetic changes, or
it's specifically magnetic? So it's
right,
ignoring electromagnetism. It's just magnetism, which is actually quite interesting.
It's like a compass. It's like a digital compass, basically, right?
It's going back to like people were using compasses for years, and then we forgot about magnetism for some reason and moved to electromagnetism. But people were using magnetism for a long time.
Yeah.
But kind of.
Well, I know Ed. He was on earlier. Like I said, he was with Rift. He believes in the compass. He'll take a compass as opposed to a K2 meter or anything, and walk around locations. And if it starts going funky for some reason, that there's a field somewhere around there. So
there's less that can affect it than EMF in the modern world.
That is great. Todd just said Magnavox is an absolutely amazing device. I've had a theory for a long time that spirits are made up of more of a magnetic or natural type energy than they are of a man-made electric type of energy. Magnavox has been helping me prove this theory over and over again on every investigation. It's absolutely badass device. So thank you, Todd, for saying that.
Thanks, Todd.
That is absolutely true. So, I mean, I've seen some of his work, and some things that Todd has caught is some absolute awesome stuff with your devices. So I totally am 100% behind it. And everyone else, please go and check out the link below, skyrtech.co.uk. Put Halfern in the checkout code for 10% off now, and check out some more of this equipment. I mean, it's absolutely amazing. Tell me, what would one of your team members say would be one of their like top favorite equipments compared to what you've chosen?
They like the aerofluxes quite a lot.
Aerofluxes?
So that's the one that detects the air pressure fluctuations, which are in a pattern which we've seen through looking at the data loggers, because they tend to indicate that something is about to happen, or to kind of pay attention to one area of the room or other. So they quite like putting them out in like doorways. So you put one in each doorway of the room you're in, and then you see if one goes off, because then you know to expect something maybe from that direction or something that's left.
Wow.
So that's one's very popular because it's not something that's really looked at very much, and it's very consistently linked with other stuff happening.
That's
and
great.
if they're going off, then it's a good night.
Yeah. No, that is awesome. Yeah. I don't blame them for picking that. That would be a great, great tool to have like for my kit because I always wonder like what, changes right before something is about to happen. And I know talking to
Mm.
you, obviously you said air pressure before. Have you noticed any other things that changes right before on your data loggers? Have you noticed any other changes in certain fluctuations?
Well, the magnetic field one was one that came from the
Yeah.
same sort of period, but we weren't too sure because there was a real weird inconsistency with it. But the other one which we're trying to look into and we're going to study next year is air capacitance. So how much energy can the air store, which
Oh,
appears to change, which may or may not be related to the air pressure, but potentially not. So we need to kind
But it
of
could temperature affect it as well.
yeah, yeah,
You
it
know what
can.
I mean?
Yeah,
Okay.
so we need to kind of do more studying relating to other types of environmental change to see if it's changing along with them or it's changing outside those, because then that would be strange and something else must be affecting it.
Yeah, or even having a temperature gauge in there to work an algorithm, okay, it's 60 degrees, so, the air should be here, so
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
you know what I mean? Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I do that with data loggers with fog and dust. So there's an algorithm you use with humidity and temperature to work out is it possible for dust to be suspended in the air or will it fall? And
mm,
likewise with the temperature and humidity, you can work out if fog can regenerate or not. So every second it's recording that calculation as well, the result of it saying it is possible that dust can be in the air and it is possible that fog could be rolling in or not. So if you then see a mist or orbs, you can say, actually, that might not be dust. That's not dust because it can't be in the air, but it could be a spider. But at
yeah.
least you can rule things out.
Now, see, my wonder is these fluctuations that you're catching, how much of it can affect the human body is what I'm wondering. Like, I know air pressure can somewhat like affect the human body, but only very, depending on certain factors. But like for other things, have you like looked into certain other fluctuations that can affect the human body? Because the reason why I'm asking this is because I had this theory that when a spirit shows itself to somebody or they have a full body apparition type scene, like where they see something like that, I'm wondering if the energy is affecting the human body, making the consciousness see whatever the brain is filtering, if that kind of makes sense, whatever the eyes are picking up and sensing and
Mm.
filtering through the brain. So I was just wondering, do you know of any other fluctuations that can cause any kind of type of things to the human body
Well,
besides
it is,
the
it is interesting you said that actually, because I don't know about you, but there's sometimes when you're wandering around places, you can feel like, oh, this feels uncomfortable here, or this feels like different to the other areas, and you kind of get
Yeah.
these hackles raised up. Sometimes we call it a Scooby Doo feeling that
Mm,
this seems
Or
like an
an
interesting place to
empathic
investigate.
feeling. I think that's what an empath is
Yeah,
they'll feel how a room changes. Yeah.
yeah,
So
but I
maybe
would
they're more sensitive to that atmosphere.
I would say that even people, I'm psychic as a brick, but sometimes you can walk around and feel like this feels a little bit different, and so that must be something your body
Yeah.
is picking up that you're
yeah,
reacting to. And you do actually have more than five senses. And I'm not even talking about third eye senses, which are internal senses, which are there to regulate different bits of your body, which
yeah,
are literally got those jobs of keeping an eye on your body and then telling you when something needs to be done, and your brain sorts it out. So those are other senses which can pick up on environmental changes, which aren't necessarily your skin picking up the temperature change.
yeah.
It's
Exactly. Yeah.
like
Or
colon or
smelling
something.
something as you're
Oh,
hearing
yeah, yeah.
something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Even
I
faint
mean,
little
you
bits
got
of
all these
something.
senses that are connected to your brain.
Or
So
also, too, it's like when you're in a room with somebody and say someone hears something, but someone doesn't hear one. Like, or someone hears
Mm,
a whisper in their ear, but the person standing right next to them doesn't hear that. Is some kind of energy affecting the human body, fluctuating the inner senses of our body to perceive and our brain filters it out to this experience that we're having, you know what I mean, audibly
yeah.
or physically or whatever it may be. That was something I always wondered because you're collecting so much data and I find it so awesome But does Andy have any equipment that registers infrasound, and what is his take on infrasound as it relates to a ghostly feeling from Victoria Monday?
So I've looked into it, and it's one of those difficult things because you need something which can pick up such a long wavelength, because it's this infrasound waveform is miles long, so you have to be able to pick up that much data a long period of time to then see if it's there.
Well, what would even be the hertz? It would be so low that
it's like less than 20 hertz.
Yeah, you wouldn't even be able to hear it.
But it has definitely been proven that it does affect humans time and time again.
Oh yeah, infrasound can do some damage for sure. I mean, I've heard some serious stories about like certain hertz, like especially like I think it's like what we vibrated like 7 hertz or something like that. And if you were to match that hertz, you can actually die or something along those lines. Yeah, it says
even in the military, man, they have those things for crowd control that would make people throw up and get sick.
Yeah. I had that with this actually. I just let it running in my conservatory because it goes very loud. And at one point, I felt terrible, and I just had to leave it and then come back later.
I gotta go.
So I'm going to put a health warning on it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, seriously. No, but no. It always makes me wonder, though. Like we are playing with a lot of this, different type of equipment and stuff like that, and it's always made me wonder. Like I know we're registering it, so I'm wondering if this type of energy is affecting our bodies, and is that the reason why, we're for example, mediums, they say sometimes that someone's always standing behind you. People are always standing behind you. They're never like in front of you or something like that, right? So the thing is, to me, they always see them behind you. So I'm wondering, are they always behind us because they can't get too close because the energy can affect our bodies? Is that it? Or is the energy just not wanting to get close because it's intelligently knows consciously that it can hurt us in some way? Like, who knows what that whole thing is about? But that's why I wanted to ask you what you thought about the energy and affecting, and also with what Victoria said. She just said, I feel the most ghostly things are vibrations and not electromagnetic things. Most of our equipment registers on EMF spectrum. What's your thoughts on that?
When we say vibrations, it would need to be something vibrating, basically. Like, let's go back to quantum mechanics with string theory, for example.
Yeah.
Concept there being that each particle is not a single particle, it's a string which is vibrating on a wavelength, which then passes through 7 different dimensions which are on different wavelengths. All that is vibration, but it needs something to vibrate.
Well, I think the easiest way to explain it is that everything will give off a frequency. It's just what part of your senses is feeling it. Because if you play that guitar string, I'm hearing 400 hertz through my ear, but my eyes can't see the vibration, so it's going to be lower in the light spectrum, and then I can't feel it, so it's going to be even lower than the light.
Victoria said audio frequencies and light frequencies. And Victoria, I don't know if you were watching earlier when Andy showed the device that he just picked up and was talking about how he was feeling terrible about. It's a custom device that he made that works on the wavelengths of the light frequency and also using audio frequencies like he was explaining before. So take a look at that and check it out, what we were talking about before, because it may answer your question a little bit more. But so Nancy says that's what the cleaning guy at Chamberlain Hotel said about things that happens there. It's always behind them. It always makes me
what you're talking about.
Yeah, it just always makes me wonder. It just always makes me wonder, like, is the energy never getting too close to us because it can hurt us, it can affect us, our bodies in a certain way, or is that why when they do come close to us or whatever, that people get sick and they start throwing up, the room changes, like these fluctuations? So that's why I had to ask you that question.
One thing just struck me then when you said, do you remember I mentioned before, like when you just listen to people and then you might pick out little bits which think, I want to look into that. The thought of maybe always feeling like something's behind you, or you're sensing something behind you, might mean that the part of your brains that towards the back might have some impact in how it's picking up on it. I don't know what's back there. I'm going to do some research to find out what's at the back of your brain now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you don't know what parts are activated, what parts aren't activated. If their energy can activate that one part that you've never felt before, and you know, that's why you get like goosebumps and warning signs or feeling sick. You know,
Yeah,
there's so much into it. You know, it's so amazing that we haven't tapped into all this stuff yet. You know.
and the problem is just there's too much stigma with it, really.
Yeah.
To actually
Yeah.
to properly put time and money and coordination into it, because
Yeah.
that's what it needs. It needs kind of working together and coordinating a bit to kind of come up with these ideas of things to check out, and then going off and actually checking out and
So
researching.
so Andy, real quick, I want to play a clip for you if you don't mind, AJ.
Yeah.
It was from my last session. Like I try to help cold cases. I just use a standard SB7 spirit box, you know, the little $40 one, and I hook it up to my surround system. And I just want to play this clip for you to see if you hear it too. So, do you mind?
No, please do it.
All right, all right.
Bring it up.
There's something there, guys. I gotta review that. Jameson family. Your bodies were found about 3 miles away from your truck. Can you tell me how you died? How did you die? I think I heard they shot us. Did they shoot you with their gun, Carolyn? Yeah. Oh, thank you, Carolyn. Yeah.
Yeah. See, that was pretty cool. It always makes me wonder though, Andy, with audio stuff, especially when I'm reviewing my audio and stuff. I always only pick out like really the clearest ones that I can hear, because I always know of pareidolia and the way that our sound, we have that thing where that Laurel and Yanni type
Yeah.
effect, or whatever you want to
Yanni.
call it. Yeah, I can't think of the actual scientific name of the effect, but yeah, the Laurel and Yanni experiment. And you know, they did another one that was on a short recently, and it was just from a TV show, and it was basically at a football game. Do you guys football, soccer? They would be chanting, "That is embarrassing," but when you listen to it and you put different words on the screen,
Mm,
your brain
Here,
thinks
here.
Bart Simpson is this,
yeah.
or
It's a
this
gesture.
is, yeah, different gestures and words. So it always makes me wonder, like are we really hearing what we're hearing? Because as JK said in that video, he heard yeah, but it really, when he reviewed it, he heard I know, as we heard clearly through it when he slowed it down. So that's why during real time, like I personally always go back, and I know you do too, and you review everything. That's the reasons why
Mm.
we do our things, to review stuff. But it just always makes me wonder when I hear certain things come out of the box. I try not to react sometimes, even though I want to, because when I review it, I'm like, oh my gosh, it didn't say that, you know, and now I look stupid, you know what I mean? But something that we do because it's things we hear in the moment. But I love that we're able to slow stuff down and check it out afterwards, you know, to be able to hear exactly what we hope we're getting, you know. But
I've had
what
a
was
couple of times where you play it backwards and you hear things which weren't there before.
that's what I was about to ask you about too. What do you believe in that effect? What do you think is going on there?
That is a very interesting one, isn't it?
It
Because
really is.
yeah, it would have to have been created and then you're hearing it in the wrong direction.
Yeah. It makes
God,
you,
now I want to try to play that clip backwards and see what happens.
Yeah.
there's
Okay, it
apps.
was interesting though, because that was passing. Must have been about 12, 13 different frequencies on the spirit boxes. It did
That's
that
what I'm
first one.
saying. I do it at 150 milliseconds. So that's pretty fast. There's only one other speed above that, you know,
Mm.
and that's like super fast. And for the time for that to go through, I mean, it went through at least 7 different stations, you know, 7 different frequencies. And I just can't I don't know, you know. I don't know if it's my mind or my consciousness, if I actually made connection with energy that can give these responses.
It's like,
Yeah.
what is that frequency though? Like, what is that one? Is it one frequency or is it multiple frequencies that they're actually, truly coming through as? Or can we make a spirit box that has one frequency that they can just use that's not scanning all the time? That's what I want to know.
Or is not actually to do with the scanning at all, potentially?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
Exactly.
like an EVP,
Exactly.
it's how does an EVP appear on an audio recorder when no one's heard it? So how did it get there without going through the air? And I would propose that one solution for that is EMF. If the waveform was EMF and then it hit the recorder and then got detected as audio, it would record. So which you can do as an experiment just using guitar pickups again. If you use one of those attached to a microphone, you can change your voice from vibrating air to EMF energy, which you can then pick up on EMF devices or an EMF recorder.
Yeah.
But perhaps the spirit box is doing the same thing. So the amplifier on the speaker of the spirit box is picking up that EMF and putting it out via the speaker. And it's just kind of coincidence that you're also hearing the radio stations going through. It's not actually related to the radio stations at all, and it's just the fact you're giving it a source of amplified energy to put it out.
Yeah, I mean, if you heard my response, because I do my stuff live, like so there's no BS. So everybody hears what I hear. And all I heard was shot us. I didn't hear that whole sentence, because it was too embedded in there. But I knew I heard something. So that's when I focused in on that and was able to slow it down, add the denoise, and
that makes total sense with what he's saying though, John, because remember how many times when you talk
exactly.
and we're like, yo, we hear something in the static. We actually hear talking in the static, but we can't post that because people aren't going to hear that as well all the time.
Exactly.
So I wonder too, like, is it amplifying the EMF coming out of the speaker and is it causing an EVP type effect, on that?
You're hearing as opposed to just recording.
Wow, that's very interesting. I never thought of it that way. Victoria, what we were talking about the backwards hearing something in reverse, she said that would be possible, right? If time is a man-made constraint, so in the spirit world, time wouldn't be just forward; it would go in many directions. Right?
Exactly. You could go back.
I understand. I mean, and then when Nancy said there is many apps out there that do have devices that have reverse audio clips that are in them of gibberish. What do you think about those kind of techniques? Do you think something's going on there that they're actually hearing the true responses they're hearing, or do you think that it's more of a pareidolia type effect because it's in reverse and you're getting these type sounds?
Yeah, I think your brain is designed to pick up on anything which it might need to know in case there's a threat. So you instantly try and make sense of anything that's got chaos.
Yeah, it's like a self-defense type of mechanism in your brain to kind of make sense of the situation. Yeah,
and that's why your brain tries to spot people in, like the dressing gown on the back of the door. It tries to go, there's a person there, I need to worry and get up and, oh no, it's just my dressing gown, it's fine.
Yeah, we did that with clouds.
The code on the door.
It's an intruder. No, it's my dressing gown.
I mean, think about it though. We do it with clouds all the time. We'll look up at a cloud and go, "Oh, that looks like a flower, or that looks like a dog, or whatever." Just in our minds, we'll just because our brain is constantly trying to create a pattern of whatever. So I totally get that. So yeah, that's wild. That's true.
I had a really good piece of evidence that kind of supports a sort of time dilation, or at least kind of a different time speed for some of the things we witnessed, which is actually at the Ram Inn again. Weirdly, we had 3 people there, and we were coming down the stairs. And when I was at the bottom, I was going first, and there was someone behind me in the middle of the stairs, and someone who was still in the attic. And when I hit the bottom of the stairs, I heard someone say Andy, and so I called up, said, "What is it you want?" And then, what?
Wow.
Did you just say Andy? He's like, no. So the way we investigate, everyone's got audio recorders on as well as different locations. So from that, I picked up the Andy on all 3 areas where I was, the stairs and the attic.
Oh, wow.
And on mine, it sounds normal. But as you further where you get up the stairs, the length of the Andy keeps getting longer. And that would indicate that either the time or the frequencies change between those 2 points. So it's very strange, but really good catch because you can then back up some of the theories of that.
That is a cool catch. Just like Chris just said. That
Yeah,
really
if you can catch the same sound on 3 different devices in 3 different locations, I mean,
that
what
doesn't
can do that?
that doesn't always happen that you catch it on three
No,
feet back.
No,
no.
no, no, no. Sometimes you can have it on one record and the recorder right next to it.
Yeah,
Nothing
it
on
gets
there at all.
nothing. It gets nothing. Yes, it drives me up the wall sometimes. Yeah, that's wild though, because that would show time dilation. You're absolutely right. That would show wow. That's wild. I never
Yeah,
thought
it was kind of cool.
that is awesome. That is
Man, my
awesome.
brain is fried. I'm,
Yeah,
I'm just like, oh my gosh, I got so much to think about now.
I know.
It's a bit of a rabbit hole, isn't it? You just the deeper you go
Yeah,
into it, the more there is to it.
Take
Yes.
the red pill, man.
Yeah, thank you, Phil. Hey, Andy, thank you so much for coming on. I once again, if you could shout out all your stuff for us, so that all the viewers can go check out all your amazing equipment. Some of the stuff that you're going to come out with soon is going to be absolutely amazing. I just know it. I want to have you back on when you do have this year coming, because I know you have a big year forward. But
Yeah, some big moves. I'm trying to go from just detecting these changes to then helping it be used in communication. So next year is about trying to amp the communication up using this information.
Nancy loves your accent.
I haven't got an accent.
Everyone misses Robin's accent. See what I'm saying here? They're all missing the UK people. I tell you. But no, that's great, and that's what I was just going to ask you was, what do you have planned for next year before you go? I mean, there's so much going on for next year that you have going on. I can imagine. What is something that you can sneak peek us?
So yeah, okay. Two things then. One is going to be a device which helps people remove some of the variables when doing Esther sessions. So the point, it removes the worrying about radio stations, and also enables people then to then review things back later, as well as also communicate things like male, female, one person, another person during the session itself. So help the session progress a little bit. So trying to improve the way Estes work and get better results of it, and see if there's anything to it or not. Really focus on that.
That's
and
awesome.
the other device is, I want to say it's like a word bank approach, but the word bank focused on the environmental changes and relate them to specific types of responses. So they're based on questioning on, say, like how you're feeling, or what sort do you like about the place, then have the different change in the environment specifically hit different words that are kind of tonally increased. So hot would be happy, or cold would be sad, and then the bigger the change, the different sort of the word, so that we can then communicate that when you actually do an investigation, saying, tell me how you're feeling. If it's good, then do this, and if it's bad, do that. And then you can then see a scale of that, and actually then be able to use it, as opposed to, say, a word bank or an app which is just coming up with random words. You don't know how that works. This is designed so you can explain it, and then it can be used in a little bit more intuitive way with whoever you're talking to.
Awesome. Nancy Noonan said Greg and Reg will love that. So we're all going to love some of the stuff you're coming out with. It's very scientific.
Oh, yeah, man.
Any viewer that just hopped in, definitely check out this episode, because Andy, he's amazing, man. He comes up with some amazing stuff. Keep doing what you're doing, my friend. And I'm super happy to have you on the show, and so proud to have you on the show, man. It's an honor. Truly an honor. So anyway, shout out your website real quick and tell everyone where
skytech.co.uk, or alternative, you can go to Relative Paranormal.
Awesome. So there you go. You guys heard it first. Well, thank you so much, Andy, for coming on. I appreciate your time. We'll
Always
definitely
a pleasure.
see you next time.
Yeah, thank you, Andy. What do you say, Andy? Cheers, man.
Cheerio.
Thanks.
Had a blast, man.
Have a good one.
See you later.
Bye. Oh, that's awesome, man. Hold on, let's change this back. That's awesome. I had a great time talking to Andy, man. It's such a great time, and I wish I knew that Todd and Marissa were free. I would have had them come on and talk as well, because they work very close with Andy. I would have had them come on, and I couldn't send him a link at the same time. I was doing all of this, so I kind of feel bad. But I'll hit up Todd after. I'll let him know. It was no hard feelings in that at all. But I tell you, man, some of the great theories that we were able to talk about, and some of the stuff that he's able to collect, doing the work at SkyTech that they do, it's just like absolutely amazing, man, isn't it?
Yeah, dude. I'm blown away. and just I can see his excitement in him. I can feel it, as he's talking about his devices, and to have that passion, into something that you built, that your heart and your mind are connected, and it's gonna happen, and he has that aura, man. He's gonna blow something open, and it's gonna take off. So
Yep, absolutely. Well, everyone watching, thank you so much for checking out another episode of Talking with the Source. My name is AJ Capasso, host of Talking with the Source. I'm here with my friend and co-host JK47, Jonathan Keyworth of JK47 Paranormal, and also his podcast. Check it out, Targeting with the JK47 people.
every Tuesday at noon Mountain Time, check it out.
Well, guys, thank you so much for tuning in for another episode. Until next time, we will see you soon. Go check out
Bye, guys.
Paranormal.